This is the most toxic deck in the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. At least for right now. We've had a lot of toxic decks in the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG before, but right now I think one of the most toxic decks, I'm not even going to name it, I'm going to just show you guys what it is. Actually, you guys saw the title of this video. Morganite Stun. Morganite Stun is one of the most broken decks right now and the most toxic decks to play against because it just does so many things. One, it doesn't let your opponent play the game. Two, you can actually OTK and go second with this deck. Stun decks typically always lost to losing die roll. This one does it, which makes it absolutely insane. So just before we get into today's video, guys, I just want to give a big shout out to my locals, Legendary Collectibles. We're here early before locals today, and don't worry, I'm not playing this deck today. Or should I? Or am I? My opponents will find out very soon. But I want to give a big shout out to Legendary Collectibles, of course, for hosting all these locals. This is my local store. Spangle 5% off all the Yu-Gi-Oh card purchases, including these cards. If you guys want to do this to your opponents, you can do that here. Well, not here physically, but you can buy the cards from here and then do it. Let's get into the profile. All right, so first things first is one Morgana here. Morgana is really cool because it counts as a Morganite card, and that's actually really relevant. It on normal summon gets you into any of your Morganite cards, so it searches your Morganite spells, and that's relevant. And you guys might be wondering, okay, well, if this does that for you, why would you not play 3 of this? The reason for that is because if you're using up your normal summon, you really want to use it on something more beneficial in terms of more able to either win you the game or stop your opponent from playing the game. So this is not the best one in terms of your normal summon, so you don't want to play 3. However, the reason you play 1 is because it's actually searchable, and a card that is searchable off of is 3 Succumbing. So we're actually playing all the Morganite cards. So Succumbing is 3 of them, 3 Guilt Gripping, and then 1 Time Tearing. So it's important to kind of realize why these cards are so broken as they are. So Succumbing has a really cool effect where it's in the graveyard, you can banish it, add a Morganite card from your deck to your hand, and then place 1 card to the bottom of your deck. Okay, why that's relevant is because for all of these Morganite cards, you only really need to activate them once in a duel. So your second and third copies of these 2 don't actually do anything. However, there's multiple use for them. 1, if you have them in hand, you put them back for whatever. This can search you any of these guys. This can also search you this girl if you need to, and then they all have their own separate effects as well. This one essentially makes it so that your monsters can make 2 attacks per turn. If your monster battles an opponent and destroys it, then you do double damage. So this is really good because this is actually going to help your stun deck be able to OTK. Guilt Gripping has a really cool effect where you can summon level 5 or higher monsters without having to tribute summon, and you can use the effect of spell traps without having to pay life points. That's somewhat relevant. The first effect is the most relevant one because you can start normal summoning all your level 5 or higher monsters. This also has a grave effect where you can banish it from your graveyard, reveal a Morganite card in your hand, and then place it into the deck, and then you draw a card. That's relevant as well because it helps fix your decks. Again, when you have extras of these, you just all put them back, right? Because you don't need multiple. And then 1 Time Tearing because it's effectively the worst one in terms of the grave effect. The main effect is actually not bad where you can draw 2 cards in your draw phase instead of 1, which is very, very relevant. And you can normal summon twice with it. So it's still a good card, but it's just not the best one. It's not the one you want to start with. You want to start with these 2, and you want to get these 2 engraved because that's how you can kind of start getting into your deck. This one doesn't do that for you, but this one is kind of a really good card to search because getting the draw 2, getting the normal 2 is also really good. Keep in mind, if you're normal summoning twice and you don't need to tribute for level 5 or higher, that's when this deck can kind of get nutty. So these are the Morganite cards that are absolutely broken, and this is why it's so toxic. We're not getting, well, that's not all the toxicity. We're playing 3 border, guys. Border, oh my god. Well, this is your best normal summon, honestly, one of your best normal summons. In the TCG, not having an answer to border is insane. And sure, you might be like, okay, well, I could just have Imperm for it or whatever it is. Well, that's why we're playing all these other cards. 2 Christia, 2 Vanity, and 1 Majesty. What? Normal summon, because you don't need to tribute for any of these, so you can normal summon all of these guys without having to tribute summon. They all do double damage when they attack. You can summon multiple times because of your Morganite cards here, and they can attack twice. Double damage, attack twice, big beaters, level 5 or higher, can't special summon, can't activate monster effects, can't special summon, can't activate monster effects. This is, why does this exist? It's so dumb. And it's so good, and that's why I wanted to show it to you guys. But yeah, it's actually just one of the most toxic strategies, and it's really, really consistent. That's the other thing with this deck is it's hyper consistent, and I'll show you guys why. So that's it for the kind of core of the deck, which is kind of the stun cards. But let's get into the rest of the deck here. So for the rest of the deck, we are playing the 1 Prosperity, the 2 Extravagance, the 2 Pot of Duality, and the 2 Foolish Brother of Goods. Okay, so let's talk about this. 1, you don't need your extra deck really at all. So having Prosperity and Extravagance doesn't matter. Duality is also insane because Duality makes it so that you're not special summoning anyways. So Duality gets you into any card. Duality also works with these guys because these guys say you can't draw after you use it, whereas this card adds a card to your hand. So you could go Extrav in theory and then go Duality, which is really, really good. So these two in tandem are really good. And then Foolish Burial Goods is also really nice because, remember I said like sometimes you'll have extra copies of your Morganite cards? Well, having your Succumbing in the graveyard or having your Guilt Gripping in the graveyard and then getting the grave effects off either to draw a card or either to search a Morganite card is also very relevant. So really being able to send these extra copies to the graveyard is always going to be relevant, and that's why Foolish Burial Goods is another like form of consistency for you. If you start with none of the Morganite cards but you start with this, you can send your Succumbing, banish from grave, search your Guilt, activate your Guilt, banish that from the grave, reveal another one, draw a card. Like, it just becomes so consistent just with this card. So these are kind of like your consistency pieces over here. And then this is where the deck gets crazy. Okay, stun decks. Stun decks are really good going first, but are they good at going second? This one is, because you're not activating any effects. So we're playing 3 songs, 3 impulse, 2 purge, 1 spiral. Oh, I can't activate dark cards or monsters, or I can't activate light monsters or fire monsters or water monsters. It doesn't matter. None of these cards activate, okay? The Dominus cards, for anyone who wants to know, they're not like skill drain where they negate the effects on field. They negate the activation. All of these cards are floodgate effects and they're not activated effects. That's just something I want you guys to know because it's very important. For that reason, you can play all of these Dominus cards. So if you lose the die roll and you go second and you open Dominus cards, you're in still a great position because effectively you're opening hand traps. That's another thing, by the way, I completely forgot to mention this. All the Morganite cards have the same effect where when you activate them, you can't actually use monster effects in hand for the rest of the duel. So you can't actually play hand traps in this deck, but you can play literal hand traps because you don't care about activating any of the monsters effects, right? Because none of them are activating. And then 3 Imperm as well, another hand trap for you. So the fact that this deck can go first and just completely shut out your opponent or go second and just play hand traps is insane. And then we're playing 3 Solemn Strike. Again, this card is also good going first and second, so Strike is another good one. And not having to pay the life points for it is really good. Same thing with Solemn Judgment here. And then one There Can Only Be One. There Can Only Be One is really good as well, because this is a Machine, this is a Fiend, this is a Fairy, this is a Spellcaster. So, like, in theory, you can have all these guys on the board under There Can Only Be One, and you're fine. Like, that's the craziest part about this deck, is you're never losing to the card like this one, but your opponent 99% of the time is losing to this. This is what I talk about when I say, like, this deck can go first, and obviously wants to go first, but going second, it has a fine matchup just because of your ability to play all these cards over here. And then on top of that, the reason we're playing 3 songs and then less of these guys is because you can actually search these guys. Impulse is just the most insane one, so that's why we're playing 3, but songs let you actually search into these 2, so that's why we're playing these ratios, okay? So that's it for the main deck. That's the toxicity that you guys need to see.
Every card tells a story, every game leaves a mark, and every detail matters. InfinityPRO was built for players who demand more. A flawless shuffle, unmatched clarity, a premium feel without compromise. This isn't just a sleep, it's focus, it's control, it's your game, unleashed. Available in both standard and Japanese sizes, made for every player. InfinityPRO, unleash your game.
The rest of the deck I'm going to talk about very quickly. We're playing Super Poly on the side, so you can play Super Poly targets. So 1 Starving Venom, 1 of this guy, the Predaplant, 2 Entis. This is a Slayer target. I believe we're playing Slayer in the side deck as well. 2 Mud Dragon, 2 Garura. These are all like Super Poly targets again. 1 Secretarion here as well. This is another Super Poly target against Draco Tail. So you guys can see, like, really we're just trying to cover every matchup. You're never going into your extra deck in this deck outside of going second with Super Poly. So that's why you're playing all these cards. Then for Slayer, of course, we're playing the Malong, the Omega, the Valion, the Aggregator, the Ferrijit, and then the Bucephalus. These are, again, all Slayer targets. The reason you're playing so many is because you are playing, like, Extrav and Prosp. So you want at least to have something in your extra deck to send off of Slayer. Not much explanation here, literally just Slayer or Super Poly targets. That's literally all it is, right? And then for the side deck, we're playing 3 Super Poly. Going second, I mean, you can still go second, like I said, with the traps. But the really cool thing about Super Poly is that, like, it kind of breaks your opponent's boards. You don't really have board breakers in this deck. Super Poly does that for you, and you can use this before you start any of your plays. So if you're able to break their board and then go, okay, now I'm going to go Succumbing, and after Succumbing, I'm going to go Normal Summon my Vanity Fiend, or whatever it is, like Guilt Gripping, Normal Summon Vanity Fiend, whatever it is. Now you're just putting up a big body. You break their board, and then you set up your own board, which is very nice with Super Poly. Same kind of idea here with Ultimate Slayer. You can break your opponent's board and then set up your own board and kind of push for game and damage that way. 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, again a board breaker. 3 Evenly, again a board breaker. Again, although this deck inherently can go second, if you know your opponent's gonna make you go second, you might as well just play cards that can break any of their boards, right? 3 Soul Drain, this is for going first against graveyard decks. If you know you're playing against a graveyard deck, you're going first, let's say game 3 or whatever it is, or game 2, you can side this in, very good floodgate. And then 2 Solemn Warning. Solemn Warning is just a really good card. Originally, you know, I wanted to play 3 Judgment, but Judgment's not 1 in the TCG now, so this is kind of like your 2nd and 3rd Judgment. It's not as good, but again, not having to pay life points for Warning is still really relevant, and it kind of gives you 5 good cards going in for going first, right? Like some really powerful cards. So that's it for the deck, guys. I can't believe I had to explain why this is the most toxic deck, and I think it explains itself when you guys see it. The fact that this deck exists is crazy, and you know what? Now that I'm saying it, I changed my mind. I am playing this deck. Good luck to everyone. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Don't hate me, guys. Please don't hate me. I don't know why I'm showing this off, because I feel like I'm going to show this off, and then people are going to start playing it, and then people are going to start playing it, and then they're going to blame me for people playing it. Or I'm going to have to play against it, and then I'm going to want to not have fun playing this game anymore. Thank you guys all for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. With that, it's Bango. Signing out. Peace.